Well, hello. This is part 18 of developing application development for Linux and Windows using Lazarus and free Pascal. And I promise I'm going to try to wrap up all of the password handling stuff, and then we can move on later to something else. But today we're going to try to wrap everything up regarding add, change, delete users, and the user being able to change his own password. There are a few things that need to be cleaned up. I want to make a few changes, and then we'll move on. Okay. And this is my my late kitty, Claude. He used to sun himself in the morning in a rocking chair. So I've made him my new background image on my laptop. All right, let's move on. Bring up Lazarus. And let's see where we left off here. It always comes up in unit my application, which I guess is okay. And it always comes up showing changed, and I don't know why, because I haven't made any changes since the last time. I have no idea why it's doing that. I think that's some kind of a bug. At any rate, this is the window attached to my application, the unit, and when we left off, we had changed this to user, and then we added functionality in change so that a person with just user privileges, the only thing he would be able to do is make a change. And then if it's a user with administrative authority, he could do all these things. Okay. But the interesting thing is if an administrator comes in, the only way he can change himself is to go to this change facility. And that lets him change his ID and password. And I'm not sure I like that. I think what I want to do is I actually want to change this back to users. And I would do that by going over here in the object inspector. And here's the file menu, right? Files menu. And it's the main menu, and then within it is the files menu. And then within that is users. It still says users here. And then within these, it has add, change, and delete. So I'm thinking I'm going to go back and change the caption back to users. Okay. Hit enter. So now if I click this, it says users again. And then I'm thinking that I'm going to have a separate user choice in that menu. So here's files, and here's users. I think I want to add a new item in this list. So that would be that's add a separator. This is add, I think, a new item. Add a submenu below the selected item. It's not really a submenu, is it? That's add a submenu. add a new item below the selected item. Let's do that. Okay. And this guy is going to be called just user. So the caption will be user. Hit enter. And then the name for this is going to be menu user. Okay, so we have users and now we have user. Okay, so we're done with that for now. So let's look in files. Okay, so now we have user and we have users. So let's look at our, let's just take a look at our logon. Let's switch back to the source editor and let's look at the logon unit. And yes, we have everything we need here. We have the user access, we have their name, their ID, the hash value for their password and their ID, and we have the record number in the file. That's good. Okay. Now we go back to the main application, and let's look at our form again, and let's go into files, and then let's click on users change, right? So what we're going to do now is when we're not going to need this if statement anymore. If that's clicked, it's only going to be being seen by the administrator. So he's the only one that's going to have access to it. So we're going to get rid of this test for administrative authority. We're going to get rid of that. And we're going to get rid of the else and the other procedure, because now he will only be able to do users change. And let's go back to our form, and we've not attached any code to this yet. So when I click on it, it's going to create this new procedure, and here we're going to do it's FRM, I think. Is it FRM user change? Let's see. What is it called? It's called FRM user change. Okay. So this is going to now be FRM user change dot show modal. All people will be able to do that, right? Now, when we do a form show, we test to see if the user is restricted to user access, which is fine. But what we're going to do here now is we're going to make menu users enabled false instead of all this. So set path enabled is false because a user cannot set path. But a user cannot do add, change, or delete. So that means menu users is completely off limits to them. So, and you can actually hide it. Let's take a look. Let's hit a dot here. And let's type HI. Oh, I thought you could hide it. Let's take a look here at menu users. Oh, have they oh, visible. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. So what we're going to have here is we're not even going to make it visible, okay? So we're going to say visible equals false. Alrighty. Now and user will always be visible. So we need an else here. If somebody else gets on this terminal and they're an administrator, we're going to have to fix that, right? Oh, and we don't need this delete enabled false anymore either, because they're not even going to get access. They're not even going to get access to that functionality in the menu. Okay. So that's that, and then we have else menu users visible is equal to true. So if they're not a user, they must be an administrator, and then it will set that to true. It's normally true to start with, but once we flip it, it stays flipped, you see. If a user logs onto that station, it will flip it to false, and it'll stay that way, even if an administrator logs in. So we've got to, when the form is shown, we have to test it and flip it one way or the other. I think we got to do that with set path too, don't we? Yeah. So this is an else. Let's put a space down here. And let's make this an else begin. There, see it through the end in for us. And then we'll take this line up here, this, Control C, Control V. All right. And this becomes true. All right. So, and we could put a little comment up here. Start commenting our code a little bit. So if it's a user with user authority, do this. And otherwise, it's a user. Okay. Otherwise, it's a user with administrative authority. There we go. Right. I guess we could push that in one. All right. Okay, so now Have we changed everything we need to change to make this work the way I want? So we go back to our form, and if we click user, yes, it's going to do the user change show modal. And if it's users, it's going to do, yeah, if they click users, then they've gone on to click either add, change, or delete. It says here, user click. That's user change, right? Users add click. Then it's a users add show modal. Then there's users change show modal if they hit the change selection. And then there's delete show modal if they've clicked the delete selection in the menu. All right. I think that changes it the way I wanted it. Oh, the other thing. I was asking myself in our last part 17, if I should force them to log off after they change their password and make them log in as with their new password. And there's one of two things we can do. When the user makes a change to their own password, we can actually change the MD5 hash that's stored in the logon unit. Because the accessibility goes both ways. I can change these from a unit that references this, or I can just read them. So currently, user change has the logon unit referenced, and that gives me access to those public variables. So what I think I'm going to do is when we have a successful change, before I close the window, I'm going to actually put the new hash into that logon. And that's necessary because here's what could happen. A user could go in here and make these changes, right? And then when he's done making the changes, the hash value that's stored in the logon is now incorrect. So if they come back in here now and try to change again, it won't confirm the current password. You see what'll happen there? It'll be the old password still stored in the logon unit, and it won't confirm because they'll type in the password they had just changed, and it won't work. So we have to go in this, when this form is completed, when we're done and we've successfully changed it, then we need to actually change the value that's in the logon unit, that public value. We need to actually correct it to the new MD5 hash. This is the new MD5 hash. Here we put it in the record. Now we have to store it in the logon variable. So we've got form logon dot, and now we need the users MD5, right? We're going to change that we're going to change that to the new MD5, which is just MD5 hash, right? And now that fixes it. That'll fix it. All right. I think we can test this and see if these changes are going to work. So let's Control Shift S. I think that saves everything. Yes. And then let's do a run and see if this works. Looks like it did. And I want to log in as a user first. Well, I could log in as admin. So let's select admin, tab, admin underscore 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that it? I don't remember. We're going to see. Log on. Yes. If I go to files, we now have user and we have users. Add, change, and delete. Okay. Let's log out. Let's log in as J Smith. And J Smith underscore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's log in. Okay, we go to files. Here we go. Now it just says user, right? We can't set the path. We only have user shown. If I click that, this brings up our screen for just the user. So that's the changes I've made. I still haven't decided what we're going to do beyond this point. I could just create a large window and we could just start plopping various controls on it and do some manipulations. I guess we could do that just to show how these other controls work. We've actually used probably the most common ones. Labels, edit boxes, item lists, string lists. Yeah, we've done radio button boxes. We haven't done check boxes. We could do that. That sort of thing. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is I've had a user ask me where they can get more information on Lazarus and Free Pascal. So let's close this. We're done playing with this today, actually. And I will go into a browser here. I use the Brave browser. And let's type in a couple of URLs. So, for example, if you're interested in getting more information on Lazarus, you type in lazarus-ide.org and hit enter. And this is the Lazarus homepage. And in here, you can find, they have frequently asked questions. They have a wiki page. What else can we get here? I thought they had a search. Do they have a search function? I think that's in the wiki page, maybe. Let's see here. Open source. Let's see. They have downloads. They have a forum. If you click that. Oh, look at that, cute. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, they have documentation. So if you go into the forum, they have Free Pascal documentation, and right here they have the runtime library, and the graphical user interface type library documentation. So you can get all that, right? What else? Have a bug tracker, a mailing list. I think you can join this group. I think you can join the forum. Probably register right here. And then once you get registered, you can log in, participate in it. Now let's look at Free Pascal. So if you want Free Pascal documentation, well, first of all, I think you can get Free Pascal. There's a link right here. Right here, right? Right there. But if you want to go directly to the Free Pascal site, you just type in freepascal.org. Okay, and now we're in the Free Pascal site. And here you can also get documentation right here. Click that. And it's really nice because it's available as a PDF if you want to print it out, make a manual, or if you want to just read it locally on your computer, a PDF works nicely, or you can use the HTML documentation. It's very nice. So those are the two go-to places, I would say, to get information. And of course, then there's always Google. You can always do a search, and you will find other information about Free Pascal or Lazarus. And also YouTube, there are other individuals that are posting stuff about using Lazarus and Free Pascal. So that's another resource. There shouldn't be anything that is going to be difficult to find. I mean, if you just do a basic search, I think you'll find what you want. I always have. Now, I missed. I was going to submit this part 18. That was originally going to be on December the 27th, but because of the holidays, it has slipped to today, the 30th, and I'm planning on still doing possibly part 19, 20, and maybe 21, but I am going to be gone. I'm going to be unavailable from January the 22nd to past about February the 19th. So middle of February, sometime I'll be back making more videos. I just wanted to let everybody know that in this video so that you don't think I died or something. I'm going to try to get some more in. And like I said, I haven't really decided where I'm going from here because we've kind of cleaned up the basics of getting an application up and running and a person logging into it. And we've worked a little bit on user authority, hiding the passwords by using the MD5 hash, that sort of thing. And I'm kind of at a loss where I'm going to go from here. I could write an application. We could just write an application to write one. Many years ago, I wrote a media library application, which allowed a person, if I have a really large DVD library of videos, of movies and that sort of thing, and I had written, it was actually written in PHP, and it ran on a web server, and it allowed you to enter your videos, and you could give it like a location code, like shelf B, C. It would tell you what shelf it should be located on. And it had the SKU codes, so you could actually barcode scan the code on the jacket of the DVD and bring up the information about the movie. And it had the lead actors, it had the producer, the director, it had I don't remember if I had what it cost. I don't think I had what it cost. Of course, it had the title, it had the runtime, had all that information in there. So I could do something like that because that's kind of like, it's kind of like a database. And when I wrote that one, I actually used SQL. If I wrote it for free Pascal, I don't know if I'd use SQL or not. I actually don't like the interface that I like writing my own interfaces. I like using edit boxes and stuff the way I want. I don't want them automatically filled in by anything. And I want to connect to the database when I want to. I don't want it to just when the application comes up to connect or anything like that. That's kind of old school stuff, I know, but that's just the way I am. I have written, I wrote an application for it's like a charity, who that charity ran a food pantry, and I wrote an application that tracked 2,000 families, and many of the families had 3 and 4 dependents. So it tracked thousands and thousands of people. It had their birth dates, their full name. It had where they lived. It had who the head of household was. It maintained how their last visit to the food pantry, all that. And I did that without SQL. And it works very nicely. And that one runs on Windows. So I wrote it on Linux, and then I ported it over to Windows, recompiled it there, worked perfectly. So you can do that. The only thing is, I haven't found a way of compiling it on Linux and then running that on Windows. I don't think that works. If it works and somebody knows how to do it, I'd love to see how you do that. Maybe you run it under, I don't know, maybe you would compile it under Wine. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. At any rate, that's going to be it for today. I want to thank you for watching, and as usual, if you find this content helpful, educational, and you liked it, give me a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you want to comment about the code or anything I'm doing, feel free to comment. I love comments. I've been getting more recently. Thank you. And thank you to my subscribers. I have just over 20 subscribers now, and I appreciate every one of them. And I hope that you all have a great day.